Hi, welcome back to another episode of Balance, Clarity and Calm with me, Sam James. I am a life coach and a positive psychology practitioner, and I am here to help you regain a sense of calm and clarity into your life and be able to find ways to look after your well-being and tend to your needs as well as those of the people in your life. In today's episode, I thought we would have a think about our capacity and how to know when to say no and recognise what our limits are. Now, I know this can be a really tricky one. It's definitely something that I struggle with myself. I love being around people and definitely really enjoy giving to others and supporting others. But with that, it can make it really challenging to know when to say, actually, I've reached my capacity, enough is enough. It's not just those of us that are tend to have those kind of people-pleasing, caring tendencies. I think it happens for all of us. We can all feel this pressure to do more and give more and be available and be present, and especially if we have got any sort of caring responsibilities and helping responsibilities. So, as parents, there can be that sense that we kind of need to kind of be giving and be constantly present and available for our children, as well as then that feeling like, well, am I being good enough in my professional life and in work, and what about for friends and what about family? And it can just sort of spiral and constantly be feeling like, am I giving enough? Am I doing enough? And often we are kind of overcommitting ourselves. If you were to think about it as your well-being as a personal bank account, and think about what you do to put credits in, and then what you do that is debits out. Now, this doesn't mean that every time that we are being with other people and supporting other people and caring for other people, that's not always a debit out, because actually we are human beings and we're social creatures, and we flourish in communities. What the debits out are those things that you do that leave you feeling tired, that take a bit of your resource, and it's then kind of working out, well, what are those limits? Like, actually, what is in your account? What is available? Now, that doesn't mean as well that you need to give it all. So you can say no, you can pause before you're empty. So yeah, it's about kind of really starting to recognise what that kind of the ebbs and flows are, what your limits are, but your healthy limits. So not your I'm on my knees limits. So some ways that you can do this is sometimes it is down to a time thing. It's like, actually, how many hours in the week have you got available for all the different things that you're doing? So one activity I will do with people when I'm working with them is to actually sit down and go, okay, talk me through your week. Like, how many hours from, like, when do you tend to get up? When do you tend to go to bed? How many, kind of like, if you're employed, how many hours are you contracted to work? What are your working hours? If you are self-employed, like, actually, how many hours do you want to be working? Or do you need to be working? What kind of childcare limitations have you got in there? Like, how many hours have you got available by the time you take out all of those other responsibilities? So once you kind of start to then get that kind of idea of what your week looks like in terms of your kind of minimum requirements, if you like, then start considering what are all the different building blocks. So almost think about it like Duplo blocks or Lego blocks. What are the different bits that you need to fit into your week? So that comes back to things like how many hours of work do you need to do? If you're studying, how many hours of studying, volunteering, the different activities that maybe you're involved with, maybe, kind of like what exercises and routines and all of that kind of stuff. Think about each of those and the amount of time that you need to allocate to them. And then start looking and seeing whether the numbers add up. Because sometimes we've overcommitted ourselves and sometimes it just doesn't work. So no matter how many self-help books you read, inspiring podcasts you listen to, life coaches you go and see, if you are overcommitted, if you are trying to put yourself in more places than actually you've got hours in the day, it's not going to work. So that can be a really useful exercise to just take stock and work out whether you've got enough hours in the day, how many hours you want to allocate to each of those different elements of your life. And that can be a really useful place to then start saying, no, I actually don't have capacity for this. Another way of thinking about it, which I also love to do, is to think about your energy. Okay, so there's lots of different ways of being able to think about this. I'm going to talk about three different types of energy. So you've got your physical energy, your emotional energy, and your cognitive energy. So your physical energy is what it says on the tin. Like, have you got the physical energy left in the tank to be able to walk however far you need to walk, or to do that task that you need to do? You've then got your cognitive energy. So your ability to think. So for me, am I in the right headspace to do my accounts, for example? Have I got the right amount of energy, the cognitive energy, to record this episode? You've then got the emotional energy, and that is often your ability to regulate your own emotions, to feel like you are managing those and keeping them sort of not in check, but just sort of being able to kind of respond and care for yourself emotionally, but also the energy to be able to interact with other people on an emotional level. So some of the signs with this one can be that you're finding people really irritating, you don't have the patience and tolerance that you would normally have. So by checking in with where you're at on those, so your physical energy, your cognitive energy, your emotional energy, and just kind of checking in and going, actually, if this was like an oxygen cylinder, what percentage would I say I'm at right now? So I'm not suggesting you need to be at 100% in all of them all of the time, because that's not realistic. But what you don't want to be doing is you don't really want to be running on empty. You don't want to be in that final quarter of the tank in all three all of the time. And so by checking in with yourself, like, where am I at? What do I need right now? Do I have capacity for what is being kind of demanded of me or asked of me? So do I have capacity to meet with that friend right now and go and have a walk and a chat? Sometimes that might be exactly what you need, and that might be one of the things that tops up your tank. But also sometimes it might be the last thing you need. What you may need is to just have some quiet time for yourself. So start coming back to yourself, checking in with the maths question of, does it add up? Have you actually got enough hours in the week for all of the things that you are trying to commit to and trying to achieve? And B, have you got the energy right now? Have you still got the credit in your well-being bank account? And if the answer is no to any of those questions, that is definitely a point to consider saying no, saying, actually, I can't right now. And that is okay, because we all have our limits. And the more that we can recognise our limits and we can honour our own capacity, the easier it is for us to kind of roll with the ebbs and flows of life. So just a few kind of ways for you to start thinking about how you can work out when to say no, and honour your own capacity. I hope that's been helpful, and I look forward to catching up with you soon. Take care for now.